What's up, guys? Welcome back to another live stream here at Palmer Aquatics. I know I've been essentially vacant for a while, missing in action, whatever you want to call it, and I apologize. I just needed a little time off, and I guess what kind of happened was a mixture of things. I lost some fish here in the fish room. It kind of really got me down, to be completely honest, and I really kind of I had a bunch of fish get sick, and now I'm kind of down the rabbit hole of researching all these fish sicknesses. And it's when fish get sick, like, it's completely depressing. And to be completely honest, I've been kind of depressed lately. To go through the list of some fish that I have lost, and I know it kind of sucks being a YouTuber, because when you lose fish and they die on you, essentially people say, hey, you don't know how to keep fish, you're a complete idiot, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. And it kind of sucks, because you know that the trolls out there are waiting to point their fingers, and it sort of adds to, like, the depression you already have of losing your fish. But anyways, my red Texas that was in the predator tank above here actually got duck lips, and within like 2 days immediately died. I tried treating the fish. I reached out to a bunch of flowerhorn red Texas people that are really known in the industry and how they treat it. Super weird treatments. Some of these sicknesses with fish just like are almost untreatable, and that's why I wanted to kind of just dive in to a topic today devoted to the dwarf gourami disease, or it has a bunch of different names, but essentially it's the gourami disease, where all these gourami fish are dying. And it's, you know, in my Facebook group, Gourami Fish Keepers, we see this all the time. And but yeah, I was talking to you guys about all the fish I lost. It kind of sucks. I lost that red Texas to duck lips, and what happens is, from my research, again, there's not a lot of information on this, and not a lot of people talk about it, because a lot of fish are dying every single day, and it kind of sucks, but it's the bitter truth. And you know, I really kind of got into some deep thinking of, like, are all of these fish not supposed to be living in glass boxes? I was just like, are these fish getting sick because we keep them in glass boxes, or is it the breeders to blame? It's just like, but anyways, you guys probably remember a girl gave me the black moor goldfish. I had the black moors in there, and I acclimated them fine. The water they came in looked completely disgusting, to be completely honest. I was kind of worried about them. I even went live in the Goldfish Facebook, my Goldfish Keepers Facebook group, asking for help. They started to kind of like look like a fungus was kind of starting to grow on them. Long story short, both of them died. I don't know what I treated with garlic. I did the best I could. I even reached out to some other goldfish people. Both of those fish died. It sucks, I know, and I just got the fish, so I was like overly excited to get the fish, and it's like the fish died, and my red Texas died. I lost a severum. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's, you know, I had like 4 or 5 fish die within a week, so it's just like you start doing some deep thinking, and I was just like, I'm kind of rambling here, but I was the deep thinking of it all. Like, are these fish? Are my tanks completely overstocked, and is that why the fish are getting sick? Or is it like, you know, you do some like deep thinking. You're like, you start analyzing your water. I don't know. I'm gonna bring up the chat here. Sorry, guys. I was just kind of getting into a little rant there. Make sure to mute the volume here. It kind of feels good to be back to YouTube. It's been a little while since I've been away. We hit 20,000 subscribers. That was pretty cool. So I want to give a huge shout out to you guys, because without you guys, I mean, you guys are the subscribers, obviously. So actually, we're about to hit 21,000, so that'll be cool. All right. Yes, the chat. Oh, there's a bunch of people here already. So, all right. So I want to give some shout outs. Mr. B's Fishing Things. Hello, Alex. Caleb Aquatics. Big Smooth Aquatics. He says, what's up? It has been a little while. It's okay. Yeah, it's been a little while. I've been just kind of taking some time to myself. Like I told you, I had a bunch of fish pass, and it just kind of like, it kind of got me down, to be honest. And Caleb Aquatics says, what do you have? No comment to tell now? Tech Turtle says, hello, hello. PT Bass Fisher. I was the first one here. Alex says, rest in peace to the Red Texas. The Red Texas was the one that really got me because he was starting to kind of like shell and change colors, and it was the fact that he was supposed to be a cold fish, and he was kind of like starting to blossom, you know, and all of a sudden he got duck lips, and a lot of the cichlids, I guess, get those because they're like, what happens is like something unhinges in their jaw, and something like, a bacterial infection spreads really fast, and it hits the nervous system like that. Like, he was dead in almost like a day or two. It was absolutely nuts. He says, Zach says, I need help with my Oscars. My fish has been itchy lately, not ick, my fault. After I added this dwarf gourami and not quarantine. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about is gourami fish today, because in particular, I've noticed an influx in gourami fish dying all over the place, and it's absolutely insane, and I think it's worth talking about. And I have the Facebook group Gourami Fish Keepers, and it's so abundant there. Like, it's almost like 90% of the posts are people talking about their gourami fish are getting sick, and they actually have a disease called dwarf gourami disease, and a lot of people don't know about it. And it's Tech Turtle says, I'm loving the new acrylic tank, by the way. Pretty nice. Yes, I saw that you posted that. I love acrylic tanks. Like, there's just something so beautiful about acrylic, to where like you can modify things. You can cut acrylic, you can glue it in, you can buff it, you can sand out scratches, you can do like anything. You could cut up an acrylic tank and glue another acrylic tank together. Like, people don't understand, I think. A lot of people still prefer glass. I know it's a lot cheaper, but it's like, it's just not, it's not as good, and the clarity is just so much higher with acrylic, you know what I mean? So with further researching this dwarf gourami disease, it's pretty much almost inevitable for your fish to survive. Like, it's a pretty scary deal, and I've been down this wormhole all week long so far of just researching some of these super bad diseases and viruses that kind of plague some of these fish we're keeping. And there's even, when you start getting really deep into it, Matt's Monster Fish, what's up, sir? JH Aquatics is also in the house. We got some big names here, some other YouTubers. Check out their channels if you want to. But yeah, and actually, did you know there's some weird laws happening with gourami fish? Like, for instance, in the country of Canada, you cannot import gourami fish right now because they are seen as like disease or like virus infected, because you cannot import them without a veterinarian's license. Did I say that right? A veterinarian's license. So that's pretty crazy, because they found that they're just infested with viruses, and they put the law down on it. Like, here in the States, there's some weird things happening. Like, other countries aren't allowing fish to be imported and stuff because they're just filled with viruses. But here in the States, we're selling gouramis like crazy, and who knows what the success of survival rate is for these people. Like, I guarantee you at some point have kept gourami fish and they died on you. All right, I'm gonna hit up the chat here. There seems to be a lot going on. E Aquatic says, I have one dwarf gourami. James Mitchell says, I find it way too easy to scratch acrylic. I don't know how you're scratching acrylic. Maybe because you're using like a algae scraper. You have to make sure that you get a scraper that's designed for acrylic. A lot of people screw that up, because if you use a regular one, it'll scratch it like nutso. And you, the beautiful thing though about scratches in acrylic, you sand them out with like 1,000, 2,000 grit sandpaper, and you buff it with a buffer. I'm definitely not buying any dwarf gourami anytime soon, says James Mitchell. Yeah, it's Caleb Aquatic says, I have 29 golden gouramis. Wow, that's crazy. And I think some gouramis aren't susceptible to the gourami disease. And it's even said that it can spread, this dwarf gourami disease can spread to other fish, like betta fish and such. So once it's in your tank, you have to be really careful. And like some of these mainstream pet stores, big chain stores, you know, all their systems tied together. So it's like, if you have dwarf gourami disease, it's just wiping its way through every single tank and every fish. And what fish is going to, you know, there's so many diseases. It's absolutely insane. Like, that's all I've been researching. And it, like, I've gone down the rabbit hole now, and like, it really has me doing some deep thinking about these fish. Like, are these fish not supposed to be living in glass boxes? Should we have more salt in our water? Because there's a lot of talk of salt being such a huge aspect of fish keeping, but yet people aren't doing enough testing to kind of like, you know what I'm saying? I'm at a struggle for words here on how to explain it, but Joey's gonna have to start breeding Susan. My first time catching you live, says Mandy B. Well, how is it going for you? I know this is kind of, I have videos and I do some live streams where I hang out. This kind of gets boring, I think, but people seem to love it. And essentially what I do is just turn on my camera when I'm hanging out. We just chat kind of. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think it's Asia that these gouramis are infected with TB. Yeah, it's I think the breeders are the ones to blame, because there's an article that goes over the list of reasons on why they think this exists, like the dwarf gourami disease, and why they think it exists. I'm trying to find the article again here. It's there's poor conditions in breeding was one of the biggest reasons, because obviously gouramis are pretty easy to breed once you get a system down. And there was also talk, there's a huge variable of the idea of these breeders aren't giving out females, and there's kind of like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories around this, why they won't give out the females. Maybe it's because they don't want other people mass breeding them, but it is said that when you go to these big chain pet stores, 99% of these gouramis are all males, and maybe it's because all the males have all the colors and they're just thinking we don't even want to own females. But it's sort of odd, because in every other type of fish, a lot of times you can find females. So it's like, you know, it's kind of weird, but it's kind of not. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not boring, says James Mitchell. I just slammed a Mountain Dew. Sorry, it's coming out of me. Man's Monster Fish, I love the channel. Can't wait for the fish tour in the 1,000-gallon. Whoop, whoop. Made it today. I have a giant albino gourami, is 14 inches currently, says Hubba Hubba. How do you pronounce that? Jubba Bubba? Hubba Bubba? Big Smooth Aquatic says, do you think I should get a Jack Dempsey for my 75-gallon? I think that would be an excellent idea. Jack Dempsey's, I have 4 or 5 of them right now, and I absolutely love them. This tank is feeling a bit vacant right now because my red Texas passed. I'm not going to shed a tear right now in front of you, but I got to say it did kind of sting a little. I had a lot of, every day I would come check on that fish and see like the coloration change, and then all of a sudden you got duck lips, and it's like, and it's, there was a weird treatment. Like, I reached out to Chris Rounds, and he's kind of a really big red Texas cichlid guy, flower horn guy. And he said I had to take out the fish, take a razor blade, and actually try to skin away the fungus that was kind of starting to grow out of the duck lips. And it was the weirdest thing I've ever done, because it just seems foreign to sit there and hold your sick fish and with a razor blade kind of scrape it off, you know. And it's like, and then put peroxide on the wound, and it's like, that was kind of weird too. it's just it was a weird process, you know, and it didn't work. And I'm sure the success rate is really low with some of these treatments because the fish, there's so many layers of stress, you know, like on top of the fish being in the tank, stressed out because there's a virus, you know, that's about to attack his nervous system, and then I remove him from the tank and start jabbing at his mouth with a razor blade. It's like, I don't know, it's just super weird. And you look up a lot of these treatments for these fish getting sick, and it's just like, it's so weird. Like, we need more experiments in this industry, and that's why I love experiments. And people are afraid to talk about it because there's a lot of, you know, Corry from Aquarium Co-op talks about this too. Like, there's not enough testing on salt, and a lot of people are afraid to put out their test results because it's, you don't know who to trust, and it's just like some guy on the internet says, hey, this worked for me and that worked for me, and it kind of catches on, and it's just like, it's kind of a weird ordeal. Could you imagine if like humans were doing the same thing where they're like, hey, it maybe happened like a long time ago back in history where like, oh, this guy has a shotgun wound. We tried pouring vodka on the wound and it worked for this guy. So try it again for this guy. And it's just like, I'm hoping that the treatments move forward with technology essentially. You know what I mean? Like we're so behind on treating fish. This is kind of just a side rant. But like I told you guys, I do videos on what's happening around me, and I've gone down this wormhole of researching treatments and different types of like what's happening to these fish. And I feel like because it's a naked feeling for me to like, because I'm starting up my shop when it's gonna have like 100 tanks with so many fish. And what if a sickness could take over 20 tanks at once and just destroy, you know, my YouTube channel is going to grow, and it's like, what if, you know, because you worry about losing fish, and not only like one fish, but it could just take over and kill like 20 fish, and you have to like be well educated because it's part of the industry of keeping fish. I don't know, it's Chris, do you have any live bears or community fish? Yes, I have I have a mutt guppy tank down here on the floor. It essentially is just filled with plants, and I let the guppies overbreed, and then I feed them to the predators when they get overtaken essentially. Then I have some mollies in here, but there's not a lot going on for live bears right now. Palmer, your approach to educating us fish keepers is phenomenal. You get the message across without confusion. Thank you, Lisa's Aquatics. I think it's because I'm easy to understand because I'm not that smart. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I'm not anybody special. Like, I'm not even on the same level as Corry from Aquarium Co-op. Like, he is, I mean, he deserves every subscriber he has because like I'm learning new things from him like every other day. It's absolutely absurd. Dylan Martin says, hello, Fire Mailman. I have 2 electric blue cars and 2 yo-yo loaches. What else should I add? Well, I guess question is, how big is your tank? It's that's a question for you. I mean, you already have Acaras. I would go with, personally, I would go with green terrors. I would add some blood parrots. I would get some convicts. I would add some black skirt tetras, some barbs. I would just add your generic community tank. It's sort of kind of boring for some people, but I love it. Like, I love the basics. I can go to PetSmart or Petco and still be very happy with getting just some of the bare bones tropical fish. You know what I mean? Like, I still love tiger barbs. I love all the fish. Like, it's simple, but I still love them. You could get some, there's usually these big chain pet stores. You can literally walk around and just point at tanks and you can put the fish together for the most part, except for like goldfish. You don't want to mix goldfish with tropical fish. What else? You got to be careful with African cichlids. I know PetSmart has the red devils right now, which you got to be kind of careful with those. Some Jack Dempseys can get overly aggressive. Oscars are going to eat everything when they get pretty big. I have the biggest Oscar on record as of now. William Hughes, I got so many messages because the last video was regarding the biggest Oscar. What did I title it? The biggest Oscar I could find or something like that. And so many people were like, my Oscar fish is bigger. And William, you need to message me. Send me your fish. If it's not bigger, I'm gonna be pissed because that fish, the video Rick Ferguson put out or we did together, it didn't do justification of how big that fish actually is because it's massive, and when you compared it to things like, I just know it's huge. And send me videos of your fish. If it's bigger, I want to know. Can endlers and guppies breed together? I don't believe they can. Actually, you're putting me on the spot there, and I feel like an idiot right now. I don't think they can, if I'm being honest. Red devils are nuts. I have one, and if it's messing with my flower head, and it is messing with my flower horn breeding pair size. Yeah, you might want to split those up because it's bad news together probably. How many green tears should I add in my 55-gallon tank? Green tears are pretty slow growers. You could add 3 or 4 of them. Pretty easy. You could probably add like 6, but I guess the question is, when are you going to upgrade? What's your plan B? It's is this a short-term thing? Like, what are you going to do with them? You know what I'm saying? JH Aquatics says, endlers and guppies can breed. Okay, JH Aquatics, thank you for correcting me. He says I have hybrids. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have spoke. Now my foot is in my mouth. But that's, I don't know everything, so it is what it is. The side of right says, hello, Chris. How's it going? Long time no stream. Yes, I know. I've kind of been talking about, some fish died on me, and I kind of got depressed. I know so a lot of people don't get depressed about getting rid of fish or losing them, and they're like, well, I lost my arowana, I'm gonna go buy a new fish tomorrow. Like, I'm pretty emotional with my fish, and when I keep fish, I plan on keeping them forever. It's not like it's kind of like a dog for me. But I shouldn't speak because I do trade some fish. So it's like some fish really grow on you and you plan on keeping them forever. That's kind of, or at least while they're with you, you want to give them the best care. My foot is just in my mouth today. I'm off my game lately. That's kind of why I stepped away for a little bit. I don't know. I don't know, guys. All right. Dylan Martin says, an employee at my local fish store told me goldfish can be cold water, but they hate it. They go into hibernation mode like koi. Do you agree? Yeah, there's a lot of controversy regarding this. We see it all the time in my group, Goldfish Keepers. I'll post a link that, there's the statement, goldfish are cold water fish, is a little misleading because they can be kept in tropical temperatures, but what happens is they skip their hibernation to where, and people claim that goldfish, their lifespan shortens dramatically because of the hot water, and that means they don't like it. But essentially what happens is, all that's happening is they're skipping their hibernation section of their life to where, and then they're just living out that section. So it kind of evens itself out because they're not living in hibernation. So, Chris, did you see what Ohio Fish Rescue is doing with their swimming pool? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's a little weird to me because it's like, man, that was a killer swimming pool. Like, I'm a fish tank guru, like, all day long, every day. But to devote a swimming pool, I don't know, because I can buy an above ground pool for like really cheap, a couple $100, but an in-ground swimming pool is like $10,000. So it's just a little weird to me. it's awesome. It's completely awesome, but I've told all you guys, I like having a pane of glass in seeing my fish. I envision myself going to the Ohio Fish Rescue and looking down at the fish and thinking to myself, like, how cool would this look? You know, it would probably be awesome. But I gotta say, it's I don't think I would do it, because a swimming pool, my wife would kill me, and I would rather probably utilize a swimming pool. So it's you can just buy a cheap pool, and it's essentially the same thing. They're pretty cheap. But I love Ohio Fish Rescue, what they're doing. I'm not talking badly. I'm just stating my opinion. I probably wouldn't do it. I would utilize a swimming pool. But maybe it's different. Maybe they've used their swimming pool for 20 years and they're like, we're sick of it. You know, it's like when you have a cabin and it's or if you live on a lake. Growing up, we lived on a lake. So we never went out to the lake anymore, and it kind of loses its touch. So maybe that's what's happening with their swimming pool, and they're like, screw it. Let's make it into a fish pond. All right, I want to check out the chat here. In warmer temps, they metabolize faster, and they need more foods, and they live a short lifespan. Yeah, and they skip their hibernation section 2 of their life. So it's like it's a lot like other fish, you know. When the water is warmer, their lifespan shortens. It's that it could be a whole live stream in itself, you know. Is there a humming feedback on there? I don't think so. It's I did get a new microphone because some negative trolls were commenting, hey, your audio's not good enough. And it's like, you know what? Shut your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. But I did get a new microphone. It's right here. I don't like wearing this stupid thing, if I'm being completely honest. But it should help the audio. I have all this stuff and I geek out with it, but it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes it's just, we're talking fish, you know what I mean? This isn't Sports Center where I'm like, oh, and LeBron James is coming in for the slam dunk, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of cool, I guess. This is kind of nifty. I feel like a sports broadcaster. Hello. Yeah, I should probably really step it up, because it does matter, especially like when I'm ripping this audio for the podcast. So, all right, well, this should be cool. All right. JH Aquatics, that microscope live, I loved it. You did a live on your microscope, dude. I gotta check that out. I've been kind of behind the. I've had my face stuffed into laptops lately, just researching like fish sicknesses. I'm trying to up my game, like I told you guys, and just kind of. God, this microphone. I don't think it's the right one. You should get a Goliath tigerfish for a big swimming hole. Yeah, it's I think you keep bringing that up, don't you? God, this is weird. Why is there an adapter? They have this, the 3.5 millimeter plug-in for the microphone, and then this. I don't know why even it's the same thing. Like, I don't know. You guys don't care. It's not fish, right? Oh, I think it's an extension. It came with another extension. Whatever. I buy a bunch of this stuff and I don't even use it. I don't even know why I even buy it. He's making it so he can swim in it with the fish. He can swim in his 4,400 gallon tank anytime he wants. So it's like, I don't think you need a pool to be able to do that. Can I get a shout out on the new flower horn? I am inspired by creators like you. The chat just jumped on me. Sorry, it's there's a bunch of people watching. How can you tell if your flower horn fish is a male or female? You take it out of the water, you vent it. Usually females are tremendously smaller, less coloration. But if you want to, if the fish are juveniles, take them out, flip them upside down. Take a look at their genitalia. It's called venting, if you want to get technical here. JH Aquatics says, I did a 2.5 hour live stream with my microscope and it was fun. That sounds geeky. Can I, is it one of those like, can I just listen to the audio while I'm at work, or would that not be good? Because I like to listen to the audio of your live streams, but maybe that's one I have to watch because obviously it has a microscope. Palmer, how is the black moor doing? Hunter, Like I said, the black moor, both of them passed. I'm depressed about it. I lost like 4 or 5 fish within the last week. I did a live in Goldfish Keepers talking about the black moor. They came in, the water was absolutely disgusting. I actually tested to the water they came in, and was just skyrocketed with nitrates, higher than I've ever seen. And I acclimated them as slow as I could with the drip method. Eventually got them in the tank in a couple hours, and they had like a fungus growing on them. I tried to treat them with garlic. I reached out, and the next day, both of them were dead. So it's like, I've been thinking about it, and because of that nitrates, I should have acclimated them probably way slower. Maybe like given them a day, even in the container they came in. But it's like, maybe I should have left them in the container and only acclimated for like an hour and then left it. But it's like, when you're putting new fish in your tanks and you know they're in terrible water, you get like an excitement to take the fish out and put them in your nice clean tanks. And it's like, you kind of screw yourself, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I've been thinking about it over and over, walking it over in my head. Should I have treated the red Texas differently with the duck lips? Should I have not even taken them out and did the razor blade thing? It's like, I don't know. It is what it is. Yes, sorry about the black moors. It's fine. I've kind of given some time to grieve it. I'm gonna be. I put the stop on buying the fancy goldfish because someone just happened to come over and give me some black moors. But now it's like, now I want to pull the trigger and get some fancies and get them from like a good supplier, maybe like King Koi, or maybe my buddy Donnie over at Angry Fish Sales. He has a bunch of fancy goldfish. I try to keep it in my realm of people I know. I know that there's tons of fancy goldfish people, but I like to buy from people I know, just like the rest of the world. I'm buddies with Donnie, or there's just or else Lindsay Weber's pretty local to me. She's in Wisconsin. She's been a goldfish breeder for quite some time. I don't know. I'm just rambling. I gave away 60 electric blue Johannes because I moved and had to downsize how many tanks I have. Oh, you had to downsize? That's terrible, terrible news. I would use salt. Yes, I also added salt into the 75-gallon tank, Joseph. But the ammonia spike in the bag will burn the gills. They can't heal their gills. It's just a matter of time before they die when they get gill burn from ammonia. Yeah, it's you need to be super like educated on these illnesses, and that's kind of like why I just taken the last week to kind of just like, man, like I wish I had like a monster book of just these fish illnesses for like dummies, fish illnesses for dummies. Like if someone could write that. Because there's a lot of very technical stuff on the internet. That's great. But if I'm being completely honest, some of it is over your head, and it needs to be simplified because the people that are writing it are so educated that they can't dumbify it for like real people like fish keepers. And some of you might be thinking, "Oh, you're stupid. Like why? Just read it." It's yeah, it is what it is. Lindsay is wonderful from what I've seen. Haven't had a chance to get any of her stock myself. Yes, Lindsay's great. My sister gave her beta to her cousin and it got sick. It's back, it's messed up, and it sounds like it has fin rot. I don't think the beta fix will help it. Do you have any ideas? Yeah, I would get in Beta Fish Keepers, my Facebook group. We have a huge file on treating different beta illnesses, and I want to just check, visit it right now. I'll throw you a link right now. There's tons of different approaches. Beta fish are also one of those fish that get like There's so many illnesses, and it's the breeding is what's making them just terrible, to be completely honest. When are you going to make it to Aquashella or the aquatic experience? Very soon, Joseph. I just been putting all my stuff before everything else, and basically just kind of doing live streams. And once I get my store going up a little more, I'm kind of just going to like break loose and just get out there more. I promise. It's just like, it's all I think about is just getting it up and running. So, all right, I'm in the files here. I'm sure you're already a member of Beta Fish Keepers. All right, I'm looking for disease symptoms and causes. Yes, here it is. All right, so columnaris is probably the number one we see. Cottony white growths along the body and gills. Causes are stress and poor water quality. Dropsy. This is a super good article. I'm gonna throw it in the chat here. It's actually a file from the group, so you have to be a member, but you can just join and it'll work for you. So beta fish need to maintain their slime coat, and they tend to get velvet. Salt really helps to keep their slime coat healthy. Yes. Can you do an update video on your flowerhorn fish? Yes, I will. He's doing great. He has been with the African cichlids lately. Some of you guys might be like, oh, you've been a flowerhorn with African cichlids. Yes, there's so much aggression that it's kind of just like, there's so many Africans, he just can't narrow out one fish. There's like so many predators in there that he's just kind of like, he's mellow. So he's just like, he doesn't know who to chase, he doesn't know what to do, and he just does his thing. So it works out great. Ever thought about getting a giant gourami? I tried salt. It was at my house. Yeah, this whole sickness talk is just, yeah, there's so much to learn, and I push you as a fish keeper to push your parameters. And instead of maybe buying, maybe the advice I would give is when you buy new fish, to look up common sicknesses and diseases and treatments for those fish. Like, and it's really common for, like, you know, like certain fish get certain sicknesses. You know, like flower horns in Red Texas, I learned duck lips is one of the things they get, and I had to learn that the hard way. And my fish died, and essentially, when I needed the meds, certain meds, I had to run out to the fish store and try and find at the fish store and have a certain meds. They were getting a certain meds from a guy out of like Taiwan that they sell out of the group, but it was going to take 4 or 5 days for me to get it. It's like, if I would have had this certain weird treatment, would that have worked? But now you feel guilty because you didn't have it. So research it for future tenths, and you know, per species of fish you have, essentially. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I've been on here for 40 minutes. I don't know, I've just been kind of down lately. My fish have died. You kind of just feel less of yourself, and it's easy for people to be like, oh, you did this and that wrong, this and that, like, because this industry is full of that, and I see it all day, every day, at admitting my Facebook groups, and it's like, it gets exhausting, and I know it turns into a know-it-all. You know, it's just like, it's your water, you know, it's this and that, it's fin rot, it's that, it's velvet, you know, it's fungus, it's viral, it's in the nervous, it's, you know, sometimes you just have to step away and just kind of like absorb it yourself and just learn from your mistakes and research. Like I said before, maybe you plan on getting the fish, have the meds ready, have a plan B ready. I know, and a lot of people in the predator scene just kind of like, oh, fish die. Like, oh, my red-tailed catfish died. That's done. I'm gonna go out and get a new fish. You know, like, that's kind of like, I'm kind of the middle ground. And I don't get overly emotional about fish dying, but still you kind of think about it, and it's in the back of your head, because you're in control of these fish's life. You're in full control. Like when you put an animal in a glass box, everything is in your hands. The water, the gravel, the treatments, the salt, everything. So it's like, do you have any products or Patreon? All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Maybe give me some motivation, some up talk. I've been kind of down lately. I took a couple days off of work, just kind of trying to grasp myself. It's you know, it's hard not to get down, you know. So it is what it is. Happy fish keeping. I'm gonna try to get back on this horse and keep moving on. Maybe order some new fish, kind of like when you get past a relationship, maybe like dating someone new will help you get your mind off it. I'm not that type of person, you know, but maybe I've given it some time to grieve. Maybe I'll get some new fish. It is what it is. Let me know what you think. Before I leave though, maybe tell me some stories regarding your gourami fish. I know a lot of beginners have kept gouramis, because I feel like the #1 fish in this industry that die on people, essentially die on beginners, are gourami fish. Because what happens is you go to PetSmart as a total beginner and you see a dwarf gourami, a pearl gourami, a blue gourami, a gold gourami, and you bring it home and it dies on people. I hear it, and you might disagree and say, well, my gouramis are doing just fine. You're an idiot, you know, but it's everywhere. I don't care what you try to say. Get in the Facebook groups. It's there. They have a disease named after, it's the dwarf gourami disease. So educate yourself on that. A lot of people don't even know that it exists. So I guess I kind of just wanted to shed a little light on the fact that the dwarf gourami disease exists. They have a disease that just basically tells you these fish die, and there's not much you can do, and it's kind of scary. So I just kind of been thinking about a lot of this. So deep thinking with Chris. Without further ado, nice weather is on the way. It's actually raining. A couple days ago, we got like a foot of snow. It's raining right now, and it's all melting. It's absolutely crazy. I'm going to have some cool videos coming out where I'm outside in the shop. My spirits are rising. The snow's melting. Have a great day, guys, and just keep on changing that water. Keep your fish healthy, and keep your fish